Hello all. Here we are again. Day 103 on the mini live challenge. I was in the Rosary yesterday. It wasn't really a mini live challenge, was it? In Poitiers. So today we're going to, is it day 103? Oh my god, I don't know whether I don't know. I think it's day 103. I'll be told off by my admins if I've got it wrong. And we're going to look at why do hoof angles and markups tell us. What do they tell us, and are they subjective? One of our students has just been talking about this in the student group, and I thought I would have a little chat about it with you, because it is something that you see everywhere, and all of these angles, etc., are put on hooves, and it gives the impression to owners that obviously the person who's talking about it has a really big, deep knowledge of what they're doing, and therefore we need to listen to them. But we have to take what we're seeing. If you don't understand what you're looking at, you have to take what you're seeing sometimes with a bit of a pinch of salt, because consistency is a real issue too. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Have I gone live? I have gone live on Instagram. But before we dive in, have you ever been shown loads of hoof angles, markups, wondered whether they truly reflected that horse's hoof health? Did you see videos that go with it? Did you see sole shots, etc.? Have you ever been confused by lots of the different lines, the angles, the photos? I'm not going to go through a lesson here teaching you all about that. We're just going to discuss the effect of seeing this kind of thing on Facebook. Maybe have you ever even questioned whether the trimming process was actually being evaluated properly, or if we're going for, let's hear it for the boys and girls, aesthetic-led trimming. We're going for that again, aren't we? So just take a moment, share your thoughts. What's been your experience with watching and looking at hoof angles and markups? Has it made you feel like you don't know what's been going on? You wish you did? It's very confusing, or what? Have you encountered those photos online that have left you unsure about what was really happening to the hoof? I'll bet you have. So today, that's what we're going to talk about. Lines drawn on photos, angles highlighted. And sometimes we might be left scratching our heads and wondering if what we're looking at is an accurate representation of what's really going on with the hoof. We can change things just from moving the camera. We know this with x-rays, we know this with venogram x-rays, we know this for absolutely any digital imagery. Slight movement, slight change can absolutely change where those markups are. Not just that. It's not just that either. It's also the consistency of where the lines are put, right? And all of that means that many of these markups are often subjective. They're not consistent. There are softwares out there that you can get that show calibrated, have calibrated blocks. You need to have calibrated items in the picture as well. And this is obviously something that we are being held up to account for, right? And it's something that we are moving towards in our research that we're doing. And oftentimes when we are shown these subjective markups that aren't consistent, they're not actually backed up by any other actual evaluations of the hoof. And that's really what I wanted to talk about today. So, hello, look at me. I'm makeup free. Look at me. I look bald on the face because it's Sunday. It's sloppy Sunday, and I've been working all day in my office, and Tim is cooking a marvelous dinner roast for me and Mum, and I couldn't be bothered to go and put some makeup on. So that's me, sloppy me, on a Sunday. I can't wait. I can smell my roast. I can't wait to go out. Well, mine is veggie roast, of course. Hi, says Sarah. It's your fault. Dee says, hello, everyone. Dawn's here. Hello, hello. Camilla's here. Therese is here. Oh, windy Sweden, says Camilla. Suzanne Scheid's here. Pink marigold hand. Tracy Gray says, hi. Nikki Shaw says, Sarah Lou, hi. Bethan says, evening. Don't start me on all those bloody lines. God, I'm spattling. Drives me mad when they steal my images and draw lines all over them. That's right. Nikki says hello. Gail says hi from chilly Minnesota. Toya says hi. It's good to see you, Toya. Becky says hello. Sarah says inaccurate markups worry me for these exact reasons. People see all the lines and can be fooled that impressive digital images mixed with absolutely false information leads horses into distress and a lot of word salad. What we want is evidence. We don't just want the odd photo and the few lines. We want some evidence, please. If you want to have a go at us, I get it. We're quite loud. Have a go at us, but we'll show you the evidence. The other way around, it's not quite the same, is it? Pia says hello. Melanie says hello. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Gail says, oh gosh, you look great. That's so kind. So kind. I'm naked. My face is naked. To be honest, I don't understand all those lines. Well, there you go. Angela Moore says, lines through the bones of the leg. Structure that is a continuous motion in real life, never made to to shape a rigid structure based on something that moves. And of course, when they move, it moves all the time. A photograph is just one moment in time. Karen Davis says hello. Mestra's here. Hi from Cornwall. I hope I said that right. Therese says the vet wanted the hoof to be trimmed one way, and I tried to explain why he was wrong. He actually bought my explanation why it's better to take heels more than toe. Thanks to TPW. Get you. I love it. Good morning, all, says Stella. Just put my screen down a little bit. Bethan says they never show us full stories of the horses, names, videos, x-rays, blood tests, past veterinary and farrier history, etc., etc. And yet the moment that we don't, they're down on us like a ton of bricks. Mestra says, keep being loud. I will, don't worry, you can count on me. Jenny says, hey. Okay, so let's carry on. Oh, we got Laurie on Hyatt saying hi, and Carly, my darling, on Instagram. Okay, so let's continue. The subjectivity of hoof markups. Oh, when we see these hoof photos and we see them on these pages, or pages that always like to do this, often they come with a lot of lines, a lot of red lines, a lot of green lines, angles, markups indicating the proposed position of the hoof. Oh, there's a wasp just come into my office. I'm fine with wasps as long as he stays over there. They can be drawn, and the markups are subjective, right? They can be drawn in different places depending on who's doing the marking, and you've only got to critically assess two hooves put side to side. Which way was the camera taken at the same angle, and were the lines all put on exactly right? Now, the softwares that are being used to do this are quite interesting, and some of them are softwares that you don't need any calibration. You can calibrate them, but you have one foot on the picture and then you go marking them up, and then it really is up to you where you put markups. This is not a computer that is looking at the foot and analyzing it and putting spots on and dots on. That you can get that, but that's a lot more expensive. So these angles can be drawn in lots of different places, and it just has to be slightly out. Honestly, I can take a line on Canva and I can boop it out by just a tiny bit, and obviously it changes everything from whatever I've got attached to it and the degrees, etc. The angle of the lines can vary from one photo to the next, and there's just no real consistency. And what's even worse is that these photos are often used to bamboozle owners into thinking the hoof is perfectly aligned when it might not be, because it's a great marketing tactic, right? But it doesn't actually help the horse. I've seen lines drawn on photos that make the hoof look perfect, but perfect to whom? What actual evaluation was done of the trim? Where are the sole shots? Where's the x-ray evidence? Is it just guesswork, personal preference trimming? And this is where so much hoof care, I'm afraid, is going wrong, because a lot of these markups don't tell us anything really all that meaningful, because they're not based necessarily on what's really happening to that horse. They're based on this person's subjective ideals of what they think welfare is and what they think hoof care is. And they don't definitely necessarily represent what's happening inside the hoof, do they? What we'd love to see, instead of relying on a lot of subjective photos and arbitrary lines on the hoof that aren't consistent, what we need to see is a more comprehensive evaluation. If you're going to go and put word salad on your page and you're going to put up a lot of pictures with a lot of lines, can we have a more comprehensive evaluation? Because I think that's what's really needed. I want to see more sole shots. We need to see photos that show the sole, because you know what? That shows the trim. And that's one of the reasons you don't get to see sole shots, because they know damn well that shows the trim. That will show you whether they've taken too much sole, or whether they've left too much heel, or whether they're leaving quarters, or whether they're leaving bars, or whether they're leaving hard lumpy bits, or whether they've got a callus. All of those things are shown by the sole. It's the sole that gives you so much more information. And we want to be able to assess things like depth, like balance. We want to see what kind of symmetry is being put onto that horse's foot, and what the horse's foot is actually showing, and what the sole is showing, and what the actual reality is. Bethan, who's watching, and you hear it from me too, we will show you feet that come into Galsworth, for instance, as a good example, and she'll show you those pictures from the moment they arrive, and the feet to the rest of the world. Look, yeah, hey, look at that. A hoof line, hoof pastern axis. You can put a red line all the way down there. That would look amazing. And in fact, you could put your little circles of a center of rotation on, and everything will look like it's in line until you have an x-ray, and then it's not in line. That actually wasn't true. And if we'd have actually seen a picture of the sole, we could have shown you that just by looking at the sole, because just by looking at the sole, we can tell if that hoof is balanced or not. Because sole shots are going to tell us where that hoof is bearing weight properly, and if that hoof is truly balanced. We show them all the time. X-ray evidence. There's nothing that beats a good X-ray when we're showing evidence of where P3 is, as long as the X-ray is in the right position, of course. And what that comes, and then we can start to understand what's happening inside the hoof, because the hoof can look completely different to what's going on inside. And we know this now because I've shown you, Bethan's shown you, Gary's shown you, we've all shown you this many, many times. So X-rays are going to show us better alignment of the coffin bone, and then give us the hard data that actually can't be manipulated. And when we see those, then the true subjectivity comes out in terms of, well, I think the palmar angle should be at 3 degrees. I think the palmar angle should be at 6. Really? And then they just have have these discussions of their ideals that they think they should be at. And then when the palmar angle isn't quite right, they jack it up. I saw only today a video by a vet who purports to be a laminitis expert in the States. And on his video, he had 2 X-rays. One, because he was trying out some new glue-on contraptions, and they were fiddling about with the horse's natural balance, which a horse had, and the X-ray was not that bad. It was pretty okay, the foot before they fiddled with it. And then the after X-ray, he drew the lines on and went, oh, we've got a good palmar angle. My word, I nearly fainted and spat my coffee out. I'm like, hello? According to whom? This is really bad. If we're going to set high standards for hoof care, then we need to see the truth in all forms. We want to see the trim. We want to see the X-rays. We want to see the movement. Videos are incredibly valuable because they give us a 360-degree view of how the hoof functions. Videos of a horse walking or trotting, providing real-time data showing the real rehabs happening from what they look like at the start to where they are now. And how the hooves are interacting with the ground, and whether the trim is promoting proper movement. These are all the things we need to see, and we need to demand them now. If they are demanding them of us, we need to demand them of them. We need to see more trims. We need to see multiple trims from all angles, all feet, not just one side shot of the foot. So we can track the progress of horses' hooves over time. This isn't just about one photo or one trim session. It's about the whole picture. So when people come to us and they've got a problem and they'll show us one foot, the very first thing I usually do is say, can I have a look at the other feet? I want to see if the hoof care professional is doing something very particular to this foot, or whether they are being consistent with the kind of trim they're doing on all 4 feet. It's important to know that, because it's about the whole picture. We mustn't look at little individual bits. The only way to understand true hoof health is to evaluate that horse's hoof over a series of trim, making adjustments if needed to the heart, to the balance through following the hard sole plane. So as Phoenix warriors, when you see these posts and these pictures and these lines, etc., good effort, but can you please give us a little bit more detail, an evaluation? Can we see a sole shot? Can we see how you trimmed it? Can we see the progression of the trim from one to the other, from what you said was bad to what is good now? Can we see that, please? Underneath, have you got any x-rays? If not, why not? And something, if we're going to be held to these high standards in the equine world, then we therefore have to hold them to the same standards, don't we? We must hold others to the same standards. All those people that come onto our page and tell us we're wrong, fine, let's have it then. Let's see, other than the word salad and the barbs that you're throwing at us, let's see it. If we throw barbs out and go, the equine world is failing, we show you why. We can't have professionals, farriers, trimmers posting subjective photos that are going to mislead owners about the true state of their horse's hooves. If we're expected to deliver reliable, accurate care, then we have to demand the same from the hoof care community. What does that mean? It means we need to move away from photos with lines and angles that aren't backed by anything substantial and start showing some real evidence. It's time to stop, please, bamboozling owners with subjective markups that are inconsistent, and start showing some real rehabs and some actual results. We need to ask the tough questions, don't we? Because we need to demand clear evidence. Just like we're being held accountable. If hoof care pros or vets can't provide solid data like the x-rays, the rehabs, the sequential data, the sequential photos, the sequential x-rays, the sequential videos, detailed trim evaluations, then we need to question their practices, not the other way around. Because as horse owners, you deserve to see truth about your horse's hooves, not be bamboozled by photos that show what looks like perfect trimming but don't actually reflect what's actually going on inside the foot. When false confidence is given through misleading photos, it's easy, my friends, to feel like your horse is on the right path, but in reality you're being sold a little bit of an illusion. We need to stop giving these half truths and start being honest about what the horse's hooves really need. And if you're trying to create angles perfectly within one trim, are you following your ideals or the horse's natural foot? That's worrying, because we see it so often all the time, and then we take an x-ray, see inside, and it doesn't look good at all. Palmar angles are too high. That horse is on its way to rotation, if it isn't already, with the hoof capsule moving. So we need to stop giving these half truths and start showing evidence, consistent, measurable evidence. So let's have a quick look. Who else is here? Kathy Yorkshire, Lass has arrived on Instagram. Julie says hello. Jeanette says hi everyone. Dawn says wow, Therese, that's awesome. Oh yeah, about the vet. That's brilliant. Thank you. Don't worry, it won't hurt you. Had a hornet in our bedroom. Blooming thing was at least an inch long. I hotfoot. I'm not bothered about it. I don't know where it is. It's in here somewhere. It doesn't bother me. Jeanette, I followed a method a while back that was based on markups, but stopped when they couldn't explain why they placed the lines and angles where they did. Someone said markups for more educated minds. Wow. I answer, I follow hoof constants, balance trim to the HSP, so no degrees or x-ray vision needed like the person claimed. Honestly, I swear to God. Moira is here. Hello. Susan Baker is here. X-ray, of course, to see how P3 is. Absolutely. Hello, everyone, says Susie. Good to see you. Isn't that false advertising? It is, because you've got to show it all, warts and all. And when they go, oh, we're showing warts and all. No, they're not. They're not. They're not unless they do what we do. And apart from anything else, why don't you come live every day? Why don't you get your hoof angles and get online and start showing people live, physically, like this, like I'm doing, like Gary does. We have so many lives on our YouTube channel. You could even come along to this. It's public. Come and argue with us. Come and ask us whether what we're saying is true. I tell you this now, folks. If what we were saying wasn't true, you wouldn't catch me on here every night. You wouldn't catch me putting hundreds of videos up on YouTube, starting a hoof group with people coming in droves with problems with their horses. I wouldn't be here. I'd be out eating my roast. Georgie says hello. Nancy's here. Good morning. Okay. And what do you think of the Hoof M app? Well, that's one of the ones that she used. And you stick a photo into it. You can calibrate it to an object if you've managed to put an object in to make it the right size. And then you put the angles on from little templates, and then you put your finger on and you move it. But honestly, it's not taking points from it's relying on you to get that right. It's not relying on the computer to get it right. There are much more expensive softwares that will do that. It's good for a quick evaluation, I have to tell you, particularly when you're looking at ratios. We've got to remember these are on photographs. It's difficult to get the right kind of measurements and the right consistency in between photographs. So these tools are they're good for a starter, for one, for looking and doing an initial evaluation. But when you're actually going to dig deep at what's actually going on, it boils down to what that person is doing, how subjective it is, what they believe in their own ideals, and actually, can we see the trim? That's it. That's what I want to see. So today's takeaway, it's about truth, isn't it, hoof care? It's about showing everything. It's about being transparent, not about what it looks like in just a good photo, one photo. I would like to see us moving away from subjective markups and start demanding more real evidence, soul shots, x-rays, videos, more comprehensive evaluations, more comprehensive rehabs. I follow Bethan. She does it all the time. And these will really do show you the true state of the hoof. So think about it. Did it give you confidence just sticking a load of lines on? How can you start holding yourself and the hoof care professionals around you to higher standards of evidence-based care? You could start measuring. You could start doing it in real time. That's what you could start doing. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go off and eat my roast, my veggie roast. Thank you for liking, sharing, loving, subscribing. Thank you for all of those things and following. And I really, really, really am so pleased that you're following us. The more we hold each other accountable, the better we'll be at helping horses thrive and achieving real results. Dawn says, thank you, Lindsay. It is what we need to see. So I'll see you tomorrow. Keep going. You're doing amazing things. Love you all. Keep going into the Phoenix group. It's an amazing place. Okay. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.